Hello, kids. It's me again. You know, your God, your Creator. I don't know, was it just me or did my last PSA on soulmates touch some of your lives and liberate some of you from a prison of torture? I haven't analyzed all the data yet. We had a lot of absentee ballots and voter fraud to deal with, but just from a cursory assessment, it seems like my confession, my message about soulmates, has had some positive effects. For example, I've noticed some of you have become much more flexible in your thinking about romantic relationships. Anyhow, I felt encouraged by that and I thought I'd just keep things rolling. Your planet and your species are in a crisis. We've really got to change course, like turn on a dime fast, so we may not have much time left for me to set some things right and make up for lost time. And I have a lot of bad parenting to do penance for, so I was thinking we should make this PSA thing a weekly affair. I'll select some of my most egregious failings as a parent, and we'll have a little chat about where I effed up. I'll make some promises and do my best to keep them. You have to give me credit. I promised I would never destroy your habitat, your home planet, with a flood. And I haven't. So, I feel I've earned at least some credibility, haven't I? So last time we talked, I had a lot of explaining and apologizing to do about soulmates. This time, this week's topic is not so different from that. Well, has more to do with your behavior than mine. I feel I need to set some ground rules, some boundaries. As a god, I get bombarded with a lot of requests for a lot of things. There are almost 8 billion of you at the moment, and while only 49% of you pray at all, that's still a lot of prayers going out every day. That's 4 billion people coming at me. And even though I do get a few, emphasis on few, who don't ask for anything at all and merely shower me with praise and adulation and express their gratitude on a daily basis. And you are so appreciated. A ridiculous majority, nearly every one of you praying kids, ask me for at least one thing once a day. But the real number is closer to 1,000. Each of you praying folks ask me for about 1,000 things per day. Now, multiply that by 4 billion, and that might shed some light on why I'm at wit's end and talking to you now, laying down some new ground rules about what you can and can't petition me for. I'm not gonna lie, it's draining, exhausting, sometimes even infuriating, even for me. Quite frankly, it gets tedious listening to the same prayer requests and wish lists every freaking day. I get it. You think you're special. You think you're unique in your desires, even in the way you approach me and try to plead for them and make your case. Well, you're not. everyone asks me in the same ways for the same damn things. For example, money, a soulmate, to be a little taller or more beautiful, to miraculously shed some extra pounds, to win the lottery, basically to become prosperous, popular, and powerful. For all of you who truly aspire to become special, because no one is born uniquely special, it's something you've got to work towards. If you really, really, really want to stand out among your fellow humans, you will want nothing, especially not more than what you already have. Not riches, not mansions, not Teslas, not a level 10 lover, not a 1 million sub YouTube channel, not a swimming pool or a hot body or a law degree from the Ivy League. The truly special among you, if any will ever emerge, will not want any of these things. So, reflect and pray on that. Reflect and pray on that, because I'm at the end of my rope with you. I have almost given up on you and your wants and your obsessions and your petty-minded BS. I made you just a little lower than the angels, and this is how you act. This is how you spend your time and use your words, your thoughts, your precious language and powers of reason that no other species on your planet got even close to the same share of as you. This is how you apply all of that. I'm not joking. This is not a joke. Most of you are wasting my precious time trying to get me to intervene in the pettiest of things. Maybe this would be funny if you weren't just a few decades away from self-destruction or an environmental catastrophe. Maybe, but still probably not. And it's the pettiest of petty crap that's clogging up the prayer lines, far too often drowning out the legitimate requests of people in a bona fide crisis. People genuinely in need of divine intervention. I don't think you realize how much angel power it requires to weed out all of the non-emergency prayer requests, and just how painful it is knowing that people's lives are hanging in the balance just because the Broncos are playing the Chiefs. To address this situation, I considered making the prayer lines a paid hotline, like a 900 number $1 type deal. But I realized that would just give the rich even more of an advantage in getting their wishes fulfilled. We also considered imposing very strict fines and punishments on anyone using the prayer lines for anything so inconsequential and non-spirit or life-threatening. But there were too many logistics to work out, and it would have been a bureaucratic nightmare. So, and listen up. Effective immediately, I, God, and all of my prayer fielding and prayer fulfilling agents will no longer be accepting any prayers related to any kind of gaming, sporting, or casino card-playing events. No exceptions. Hard line on this. None at all. And don't even try to whine and throw a temper tantrum about this. I'm not budging on this decision. Contrary to what you often see in the movies, no one's life has ever been hanging in the balance based on the outcome of a football game or match, a poker tournament, or a round of golf. And I get nauseous every time I have to hear from all of you game day believers and deal with your phony piety, your phony humility and gratitude, just so you can save face with your buddies who support the opposing team. And I've never cared much for cheerleaders. I've always found their chants a little, shall we say, reductive and infantile. And this is far what I had imagined for womankind. And this is the last point I'm going to make about this, but this is not going to sit well with you. All of you involved in this whole sports racket have a lot of suffering on your hands. If you devoted even one iota of the resources, like the time, money, equipment, players, coaches, strategists, psychologists, medical staff, apparel, advertising, blah, 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 that you offer up to your sports idols, every problem on your planet could have been eradicated by now. That includes homelessness, hunger, drug addiction, teen pregnancy, disease epidemics, illiteracy, war, poverty, and so on. I know I may be coming across as a bit of a killjoy, but I'm just telling the truth, as hard as it may be for you to swallow. I've done the math on this 1,000 times, and the numbers come out the same every time. And those numbers are one of the main reasons I am no longer taking prayer requests about any sports or sports game related issue or outcome. To be clear, this prayer ban also applies to all games of chance and lottery contests. I, God, am no longer going to be the arbiter or decider of outcomes of sporting events or games of chance. I will no longer throw the lotto balls in anyone's favor. This will affect around 20% of you who are in the habit of gambling, praying for your team or your lotto numbers to win. But for those of you who are experiencing economic deprivation, I'm going to refer you from now on to the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, the PGA. Any money and resources I had hoped to pour out to you in blessings have been intercepted and misappropriated by these corporate entities. So if you need any kind of help, if you need to blame or petition anyone, I'm going to request that you direct all of that to professional sports agencies. I'm gonna need more than a few Xannies for this crap storm that's gonna come my way. Anyhow, moving on. Another annoying and problematic category of prayers I have to deal with is all the stupid stress that you humans put yourselves through because you insist on driving cars and driving them everywhere. Not just places that can't be reached via some other mode of transportation. I'm talking about prayers for a nicer car, a higher status car. Yeah, those take up way too much of my time and they are really obnoxious. Wait, just so I don't end up looking like a total asshole, I have to say up front that I can't possibly take issue with all of those very tender, touching, safe travel prayers I get from just about all of you whether you label yourselves as believers or not, the safe travel prayers that you say when someone's departing and about to embark on a trip, where you pray for yourself or your loved ones, safe travel or passage. I could never possibly refuse or reject any of those prayers. As much as I despise cars and what they've done to all of you, I have kids, so I get it. I get the anxiety of knowing your kid is out there on the road traveling, and you're having these worst case scenarios about their safety flashing through your mind. The last thing you want is to lose them in a tragic, preventable traffic accident. It makes more sense for them to be tortured, beaten, and hung on a tree and mocked, right? Anyway, so I just want to make it clear that I'm always available to hear your safe travel prayers. Anyway, so I just want to make it clear that I am always available to hear your safe travel prayers, and I earnestly do all I can to honor each and every safe travel prayer I receive. But there are a lot of selfish, arrogant hot rods out there, people who are in a hurry for no reason, daredevils, delusional, crazy, and even inebriated drivers out there. And sometimes their footloose and fancy-free / loose cannon way of expressing their free will takes a toll on everyone. I don't understand why all of you don't wake up to the fact that cars are pretty dangerous. I wish you'd get more stressed, though, and wake up to the fact that over 1 million people are killed in car accidents every year. You do realize how that compares with the things that you do stress about and hype up, like shark attacks, which only kill 10 people every year in the whole universe, and serial killers who kill a few hundred each year. You do have a way of getting yourself worked up and hysterical and paranoid about serial killers, but not cars for some reason. Cars, more like the careless, reckless, distracted, sleep-deprived people driving them are serial killers in their own way. On one level, I get it. Car accidents just don't evoke the same eerie, creepy, horrific allure and lurid fascination that serial killings do. But on the other hand, if you had my meta view on how many resources and how much grief and pain and suffering cars cause, you'd allocate your time, your fear, and your hobbies a little differently. Your priorities would definitely shift. Maybe you don't realize it, but if, poof, suddenly, all the time that I have to devote to wading through misguided requests that you won't get a speeding ticket, when I just want to shout at you, then don't speed or give yourself more time to get there, or listening to you hyperventilate very clumsy, panicked prayers aimed at making sure you find a parking space when you get to your destination. If I didn't have to listen to all of those and sort through them, if suddenly all of that time was free up for me, I could focus my energies and powers on things that might actually make a difference and improve your quality of life. I've tried to give you so many signs that there are too many cars on the road and that your transportation system is unsustainable. But you all are just so stubborn and addicted and, to put it bluntly, lazy. And you think you're too good to take the train or the bus. But sheesh, don't you realize all the stress and negative energy that would immediately be removed from your life if you did take the train or the bus? Don't you want to just kick back and listen to a podcast on your way to work instead of staring at a sea of cars that's just crawling along a polluted so-called freeway or highway? You can't see it, but I'm shaking my head. I am baffled, perplexed, flabbergasted, to the max. You humans have quite a way of fighting against your own best interests at every turn. To get back to the car issues, all of this waste and hysteria and suffering makes me wish I'd never let you invent cars. And if I had a time machine, I think that's the one event that I'd reverse. Seriously, I think it would be the one. Or maybe guns, selfies, or maybe personal credit cards. Sheesh, that would be a tough call. Anyhow, what the hell was wrong with trains? You'd feel a lot less lonely if you'd take them. You realize that, right? You could shave, do your makeup, flirt with someone, eat a sandwich, read more, write that screenplay you've been kicking around in your head, or knit a sweater for your dog if you took the train instead of driving. Anyhow, look, there's a lot more I need to say and so many more restrictions on prayer I need to put in force. But I think that's even more than you can process for one day. So I'm going to leave you with these two things for now. Just to reiterate, to clarify, the prayer lines are still open for all life or soul-threatening emergency calls. Hopefully, if you all are obedient, these new rules will have quite an effect and make it so much easier for these actual crisis prayers to get through. I'm feeling very hopeful about all of this, like we might actually be able to change and save some lives if we all just resolve to reserve my prayer answering powers for situations where people are actually being assailed and assaulted by evil forces and are on the brink of falling off a physical or spiritual precipice. I might be overestimating your powers of rationality and reasoning, but I do know that I equipped you with the ability to discern between an urgent need and a petty desire. You just need to learn how to use that ability. Just to give you fair warning, I've tentatively planned for my next PSA to be a call-out and upgrade of televangelists and other religious leaders who are way overdue for having their mail read publicly. I know my tone in this message was a bit harsh at times, but in my own defense, I am beyond frazzled. I hope that in spite of that, you felt my true intentions, which are pure, coming through. That I intended to deliver this message in love. I hope that as you lay your head on your pillow tonight, you feel the realness and the comfort of your God's love all around you. There is hope for a better tomorrow, for peace and blessings for everyone, if we each remember that we are all part of one enormous family. each of you remember just how many siblings you have, and that those siblings have problems, worries, needs, and are in pain too. Good night, my precious, beloved children. I'll talk to you in the morning, but not about sports or cars or any of that shit. Sweet dreams, but hopefully not of cars or sports or any petty crap. I pray that you dream about how you can get better every day at fulfilling your special mission and role you're ordained to play in making humanity and your world